Okay, here I'm going to talk about idea generation for generation mechanism, which is the ideas categorized in category 2. Then, what you need to do to come up with good ideas for category 2 is you need to develop productive function analysis. And first, what you should do is you need to consider how positive state is generated as specific as possible. Then I'm going to provide 5 viewpoints for detailed function analysis, precise function analysis. So you need to think about what are the components in the system. So you should think about what kind of components composing the system. And so second thing you need to think about is, are there any systems outside the system? There would be the system which could be located outside of your system, influenced by the system. And when the positive state is generated, it may be periodic timing, which timing. So you may notice that other timing something may be happening, and also where the positive state is generated and in which situation the positive state is generated. Actually, you need to think about what kind of conditions. So by asking yourself these questions, you may successfully break down the results, previous results of function analysis in more detail. So what I'm saying is, what you should do is just break down your function, break down the initial results of function analysis into more specific, into more detail. The next thing, what you should do is you need to consider how negative state is generated. So what I'm saying is, on the basis of the previous function analysis performed in the last slide. So you should have other viewpoints on the basis of actually the same questions. What are components in the system? Are there any systems outside the system when the negative state is generated, including periodic timing, and where the negative state is generated, and in which situation the negative state is generated, to which conditions. So with respect to the result of detailed function analysis, which you already performed around positive states, you may find out more specific functions which you haven't noticed in the previous function analysis. Then what you need to do is associate the functions related to positive state with functions related to negative states, as shown in this illustration. As I mentioned, probably many of the functions related to positive state accompanies the functions related to negative states. So your function analysis could be redrawn as shown in this slide. Then what I would like you to perform, or what I would like you to do, is define conflicts as specific as possible. So if you notice any missing functions, you should add as conflicts to the previous definition, as conflicts to the previous results of redefining your program. Then let me use the template. This is first definition where problem. If we introduce system, positive state is generated, but negative state is also generated. Then you may pick up only significant conflicts from the function analysis results. So you could rephrase this template into like this. If you introduce system, component, action, component, but component, action, component, blah, blah, blah. So as a combination of smaller conflicts. Then the conflicts are categorized into conflicts that are known in your discipline and conflicts that are unknown in your discipline. So you could redefine a problem as a combination of smaller conflicts, but the conflicts should include known conflicts and unknown conflicts. Then what I would like to say is, the unknown conflicts are your ideas. So non-conflicts composed by functions recognized as common sense that can be confirmed through literature review and others that have been already verified. So non-conflicts are conflicts which you could state with some evidence. But unknown conflicts that are conflicts that you think you need to be verified with certain sample data. So that means if you have found unknown conflict, that means you have come up with some of the area which requires you to research something. So the result of redefining your problem and the categorization of conflicts, your current perception about your research. Then again, these are the result of redefinition of your problem. And yeah, some of the functions related to negative states could be something which is not noticed by anybody in the world. So if you think some of these unknown function related to negative state need to be verified, that could be your research topic, and that could be the idea. As a hypothesis for further investigation in your research. So let me use the template to define your idea of hypothesis, actually, which is belong to category 1. If we introduce system, negative state is generated because component acts on component. So this is how you could define idea in category 1. Then you may clearly define your hypothesis you think you should verify by inserting the function related to negative state to the template. So template for hypothesis to be verified in category 1 if we introduce system negative state generated because component act component. So what this means is the functions which is related to negative states may include plural numbers. So if these ideas do not deserve to be verified, the ideas are less valuable. So it is up to you whether you are verifying or not. So if you think some of the conflicts are very significant and need to be verified, you could just perform some experiment or investigation. Okay, thank you for listening. This is all for this session.